The national median is $2,132. Based on the same analysis by Zillow, which examined counties in the 50 largest metro areas for which sufficient data was available. Elsewhere in New Jersey, however, property tax bills, while nowhere near the lowest in the country, were somewhat closer to the national median. For example, the average in Cumberland County in 2013 was just a little over $3,700. So, according to Zillow, here are some counties with the 10 highest and 10 lowest median property tax bills. And I'll just deal with the highest one. So, you got Westchester County at $13,842. Rockland, and also in New York, $10,000. Bergen County, $9,546. And here we have Essex County, $9,288. I don't see anything in California in here.
Well, what are some of the lows, though? I would like to know what some of the lowest as well.
The lowest, Tunica, Mississippi, $216. $216.
What is that? Trailer homes?
260. I was waiting for the rest of the.
What's that? Trailer
Bibb,
homes?
Alabama, $228.
Those got to be trailer homes.
Walker, Alabama, $244.
Trailer homes.
You
Yeah.
can't. Well,
The
maybe they
trailer
could just
homes.
be farms or something.
But look it
But
up.
they could just be a big farm area.
No, it can't be a big farm.
Blount, Alabama, $344.
Trailer homes?
Well, you should look at one of these. Google Tunica, Mississippi. Let's see how people are living there. Butler, Pennsylvania, $397.
Butler, Pennsylvania?
Butler, Pennsylvania. Fayette, Tennessee, $410. Lincoln, Oklahoma, $402. Meriwether, Georgia, $457. Wow. And another
Meriwether?
Where are you at? Meriwether, Georgia.
I wonder what type of communities are those.
And St. Clair, Alabama, $470.
Oh, my God.
$470.
Let me look up St. Clair, Alabama.
St. Clair, Alabama. So you should go to St. Clair, Alabama city data. And let's see how many people are living there. So, this is interesting. I mean, so here we're paying all this money in taxes. And, what is it that we get? Why do we choose to live here when we could be living in Tunica, Mississippi somewhere?
Trust me, I don't want to be living in Tunica, Mississippi.
Why? Do you remember what the taxes were when you moved into your house?
9,000.
Okay. Mine were like four something. And now mine are 10, so we can just imagine. Somebody wrote the average medium income in Bibb County is $14,000.
Did you say Sinclair, Wyoming?
No, not Wyoming. God, no. Wyoming is nowhere in here.
Sinclair, Alabama. Sinclair, Alabama.
Yes, St. Clair, Alabama.
Oh, St. Clair.
SAINT.
Okay.
Clair, Alabama at $470. So, it's amazing. The taxes are one thing that keep the people out of the town.
Okay, here it is. The county population.
Where are we at in St. Clair?
Yeah, in 2012 was 85,237.
85,000 people who live there?
Yeah. 27% urban.
Okay.
73% rural. What the hell do they mean by rural? Is that suburban?
No, rural is country, I'm telling you. So this is out in the country.
Oh.
Farms.
It was 64,742 in 2000. County owner occupied with a mortgage or loan houses and condo in 2012, 17,124. What else? Let me see what they have here that's more important. Type of workers, private wage or salary, 81%, government, 11%, self-employed, 8%.
So 81% of the people work for the government?
No, 11%.
Okay.
Private wage or salary is 81%.
Does it have a racial breakdown on that?
Yeah, I'm trying to get to that now. Ditto. Okay. White, non-Hispanic, alone 87.3%. Black, non-Hispanic alone 8.5%. Hispanic or Latino 2.1%. Two or more races 1.2%. Asian alone 0.6%.
So there you go. There you have it.
There you go.
Now, is there something playing in the background?
Hey, it's time to have some fun and turn back the calendar to 1962 and watch as a spirited Baltimore teen, through great song and dance, integrate a TV dance show and achieve her dream of performing. You guessed it, it's Hairspray! Shows May 1st, 2nd, 8th, 9th, 15th, 16th at 8 p.m. and May 3rd and 10th at 2 p.m. at the Bergdorf Theater of Performing Arts. General tickets $25. Call 973-761-8453 or visit thestrollers.org for more information. Don't stay at home. Come play with the Strollers.
So, I guess.
Now, one thing about this article, and then 2 days later, I see this other article that was put up by NPR, where poor kids grow up makes a huge difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so it says in two new studies by Harvard economist Raj Chetty and his colleagues found that where poor kids grow up has a huge effect on how much money they earn as adults. In one study, families living in public housing were randomly selected to be eligible for housing vouchers that required them to move to low-poverty neighborhoods. Kids whose family received vouchers grew up to earn significantly more than those whose families remained in public housing. In a second study, Chetty and his colleagues looked at the data for millions of families who moved from one county to another. Based on this data, they were able to estimate how much where poor kids grow up affects their income as adults. The table below lists 50 U.S. counties that have the biggest effects on kids' incomes as adults. The numbers based on the new research show how much growing up in a given county affects a child's annual income as adults. So here we are looking at, it says that if you grow up in Bergen County, one of the most expensive counties, that will increase your salary by $3,447. Okay? And here they've got all these other counties, but then it goes into the negative. So even though Essex County is one of the most expensive counties in the United States, growing up here, according to this data, takes away $2,311 from your salary. So you're in an expensive county, yes, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to positively affect your income. In fact, it looks like living in Essex County negatively affects your income.
Living in Essex County?
Growing up in Essex County and going to school here negatively affects your income.
So it's going to turn out bad for you?
Yeah, so you're paying all this money, but you would make less money, according to this study, if you grew up and went to school here in Essex.
So what about if you grew up in Newark?
Newark is in Essex County. What do you mean?
No, that couldn't make sense. So you're telling me if I grew up in Maplewood,
we're just
it's
doing
going to have a negative
county,
impact on me?
You're just doing
as if I grew up in Newark?
county-wide.
No, I understand that, but I'm just asking a question.
And Milburn is in Essex County as well. So, and Milburn has one of the top schools in the United States, or at least in New Jersey.
That's why that doesn't make much sense to me.
Well,
because to me, growing up in Milburn, you're gonna have a big advantage over kids growing up in Newark,
right?
Over kids growing up in East Orange, over kids growing up in Orange. You're gonna have a big advantage, and I think I didn't do the survey. I question that it will have such a big. I think you know what it is, though. This is what it is.
Well, I think it's the way that the statistics were done.
I think this is what it is. Newark, East Orange, Orange, and all those other communities.
Irvington
brings down the score when you take the average.
They're taking the average
of Maplewood and Milburn
and all the other towns
and Livingston and all these other
Essex
towns.
County.
So that's what it is. That's what it is. All right, that makes sense. You know.
Now, if there was some, would you want a county-wide? See, the thing is about living here, every little town has its own little thing, right? So here, except for South Orange, Maplewood, which is one town, two communities, but one town. So every town's got its own thing. Again, and it's interesting. You're driving as soon as you... if I drive down Milburn Avenue, can I tell the difference between Milburn and Maplewood? Not necessarily. necessarily.
Not
But if you
necessarily.
were going down Springfield Avenue and then turn down Milburn, where it veers off, I mean, there's a dramatic change. So you're driving down Springfield, you go down through Newark, and then into Irvington, and then you hit Maplewood, and then you go over into Milburn. Everything seems to change. And, I mean, this is one of the tragedies and interesting aspects of living in the United States in this federal system where every town has its own little unique quality. And you can tell the difference between towns just by driving, through. Once you get past Seton Hall, or just a little bit beyond it, and you're in Newark, you get a different vibe than you get when you're driving down south or up South Orange Avenue, further up. So,
That's pretty tough. That's very tough. Now, I think that's it as far as local story is concerned, right?
yeah, I don't see much else happening in our exciting community. Now let's hear some things that are coming up. Looks like we got an invitation to the fundraiser for Ryan and Adams. Yes, on the Facebook page.
Who's Facebook page?
On the So More Facebook page, one that you don't look at, obviously.
They posted it there?
Yes, it's posted there. Not unless I went to my personal email or my personal Facebook page, but I opened up our Facebook page, and this is what I found there. So that's happening later on, next weekend, I believe. Yeah, poor kids. So, what else is going on, Anselm?
Well,
are you interested in some national situation?
There is this article in Huffington Post, and it's written by Rachel Garlinghouse, and the article is titled, "Dear Fellow White People, this is how you can respond to Baltimore."
All right. You going to read that, or you want to split it up? Or?
Okay. My name is Rachel, and I'm white. I have benefited from white privilege my entire life, most of the times without knowing it. When I became a mom, things changed for me dramatically. And I actually posted this on my Facebook page. Mm-hmm. My husband and I chose to build our family through adoption. We agreed that we were open to adopting a child of any race. We didn't take the decision lightly. In fact, every night for 4 months straight, we talked about race, where we grew up, where we live presently, our past experience, our questions. We read books, and we met with transracial families and families of color in order to ask them honest questions. After our 4 months of heart, mind, and soul searching, we decided that we could be great parents to a child of any race. On a balmy November Saturday in 2008, we got a phone call from our social worker. We had been chosen by a woman to adopt her newborn daughter, and the baby was already born. Our first daughter had a full afro, medium brown skin, and dark, large eyes. She was absolutely beautiful. 2 years after her birth, we were chosen to parent another girl. Her skin was deep brown, prompting strangers to ask us what country she was from. A little over 2 years later, we were placed with a third child, a little boy, and like his sisters, he is black. Parenting our children has been a joy and honor and a challenge. As white people, we have never been judged as suspicious, lazy, unintelligent, or dangerous immediately upon walking into a room. We have never been followed by a security guard in a mall or pulled over by a police officer because of the color of our skin. No one has tried to touch my hair out of my curiosity, told me I'm a good dancer because dancing is in me, or quoted Martin Luther King as a means of telling me how I should feel about injustices. It wasn't until our children were born that my husband and I began to get a taste of what it's like to be a person of color in America. Hello? Hello?
Go ahead. Keep going. Hello, I'm here with you.
You remember what that the manager from the Baltimore Orioles said last when he played that?
Mm-hmm.